Information Protection and Governance. I'm Dr. Abhilasha Vyas, working as a business unit head with Cloud Tech Technologies Bangalore. Thank you, Getaverse Summit, for giving this opportunity to me and other speakers to share their knowledge with all of you. I welcome you all to this session. A little bit about me, and then we will move to the topic. So, I'm AWS Solution Architect certified. I'm Microsoft certified trainer. I have couple of certifications. I'm working in cloud security. Uh, I'm delivering trainings in cloud security, and also I'm managing the consultancy projects in cloud security, Office 365, Power Platform, Dynamics with cloud technologies. Along with that, I'm also working as a advisory board member, BBWIC, executive council member, Women in Big Data, Women in Tech in India, Gujarat chapter lead for InfoSec Girls, and also I'm member of OWASP community as well. So, and also co-founder of Swati.com. So, few things I'm working just to help other women to come into this field. Also, I got a chance to talk on various conferences and various. I've delivered various webinars and seminar in cloud security area. So, I hope that you will be having a wonderful experience with me on this topic. Agenda for today's talk is to discuss information protection and governance and why it is important to prevent data loss and configure data loss prevention policies. So, just start with a point where we need to pause and think. This slide is talking about data is exploding. So we know that how much data is exploding. We are getting data in various format, be it as a structured, unstructured, semi-structured. It's coming in mails, it coming as a document, it coming as a record, it coming as a SMS. We are accessing the applications. Applications are also generating some data. If I'll share one data with you, so as per IDC, in up to 2025, 163 zettabyte of data will be created. Now, just see the amount of data which is created, generated, which is tenfold of the data which is there in the 2016. So we see the amount of data is exploding. Now, the challenge to the organization is how to manage that large amount of data. We talk about the protection of data, which data we need to protect, how we are going to protect the data. So, what kind of policies organizations can work on, what kind of ways are available where we can protect our information, where we can identify information, we can club our information based upon the type of the sensitivity of that data. So let's understand about that. For managing data, for monitoring that data, there are a lot of regulations. As the data is increasing, the regulations are also increasing around the world. And the organization type of the data they are managing, they also have to go along with the regulations. Because again, like personal data protection bill in India, GDPR in 2016, General Data Privacy Law, Australian privacy principles. So organizations need to abide with the data regulation policies which are created, which are given, and these are helping us in managing and monitoring the data which we have in the organization. If we talk about the major challenges which are faced by the organization in discovering and managing the data. So if you see the data which I've shared in this slide, 88% of the organization no longer have confidence to detect and prevent loss of sensitive data, because the first point is they are not able to discover the type of data they are working. How to identify from the huge amount of data that which data is classified as a sensitive thing, and how we are going to identify that data. These are the challenges which organizations are facing, and more than 80% of the corporate data is dark. You will be surprised that it's not classified, it's not protected, it's not governed. Even they are not checking and they are not identifying that the data is shared amongst the other partners. So that is also not there. So, and the number one challenge which is faced by all the organization is protecting and governing the sensitive data. That is the biggest concern in complying with regulation. Let's discuss a lot about the things which we can work and how to solve this challenge. So if we see first and understand, first and foremost thing which we need to do is know your data. Understand your data, work on your data. You need to identify that what is your data landscape. identify the important data across your hybrid environment, prevent data loss, protect your data. So when we talk about protecting your data, it is coming as a second step. First, know your data, what type of data you have, then protect your data, apply the flexible protection actions, which includes the encryption across restrictions, visual markings you can design to protect your data, and then you can prevent it from the data loss. You can detect the risky behaviors, and also you can prevent the accidental oversharing of sensitive information. Even if one employee is unintentionally sharing that important information about the project, that is also coming under the a violation. You are not supposed to share any information to unauthorized person, intentionally, unintentionally. That we need to design those policies so that that can be stopped. And governance of your data, you cannot manage large amount of data. You need to understand that which data I need to retain and which data I need to keep in the archive, or after some point of time I want to discard that information. Again, that discarding the information is also giving you the option to protect that information. So governance of the data is also very very important, where we are automatically retaining, deleting and storing the data and records in a compliant manner. And all these are powered by intelligent platform, where we will be having a unified approach to automatic data classification, policy management, analytics, and APIs. And that's all available at the compliance.microsoft.com. I will take you to that portal after discussing on a few more slides. Then we will see that how we can work on these classifications. We can work on all those things. So let's first understand know your data, because these are the four steps we need to work: identification of the data, protection of the data, and governance of the data. So when you talk about know your data, you can create sensitive information types, where you can identify the sensitive information which is there in the documents in the various locations that you can identify. Also here we can work on the trainable classifiers, where the classifiers will be trained, and based on that training the document will be identified which is having sensitive information. Also we can work on the label to identify the data and label that data. So that labeling process will also help us in working in the encryption process, in working in the applying those policies where the data is properly labeled, and we can identify and we can work on the data protection of that particular data. And also the policies which I discussed, we can design data loss prevention policies, where we can identify the ways through which data loss can happen. So we can restrict the data, we can have specific ways to manage that information. So the first point is know your data. The second point is protect your data. Now, when we talk about protecting the data, we know that data is exploding. So, what all locations we can manage when we talk about the Azure platform? We can manage information, we can protect the data, on premise data, Office applications across the platforms, SharePoint sites, Teams, Office 365 groups, Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, Power BI, all the locations which you can think of, we can cover and we can protect the data under that. When we are doing and working on the preventing of the data loss, we need to understand the securing data, and we need to understand about the enablement of the productivity. We need to manage the balance between these two things. When we talk about securing the data, it enforces conditional access to sensitive data, again data loss prevention action to block the sharing, encrypt files and emails based on sensitive label, business data separation on devices. When we want to enable the productivity, because we need to keep the balance, we need to have our data secure, but then we don't want to disturb, or we don't want to reduce the productivity of the users. We want them to give a seamless experience where they can work on the services, the role which they are designed for, but they will be free from such kind of actions. So we need to enable the productivity in terms of manually applying sensitive label consistently across the applications endpoint. Again, we need to show the recommendations and tooltips for sensitivity labels with auto labeling and DLP. Also, we need to enable the searching of encrypted files in SharePoint. We can allow users to open and share encrypted PDF files in Edge in addition to the Acrobat reader. So these things we can do for the enablement of the productivity and securing the data. Also, we discussed about governing the data. So, streamline the administration, we can automate at scale, we can have tailored workflow. So, we can work on these specific administration and areas where we can work on the automation and the workflows. I will show you the options and the areas where we can work. So, we need to classify the data using the sensitive information type. Uh, this is a solution where we will be able to work on the information protection, sensitive label with auto labeling policies. We can work on the data loss prevention policies, information governance, where we can design the retention policies and retention labels, auto apply policies. We can also work on the record management, so retention label, auto apply policies. So we can work on these areas as well. I'll take you to the portal to show you all these options. This is the portal compliance.microsoft.com. If I'll take you to the home, this is a compliance center where we can manage the compliance needs using the integrated solution for the information protection, information governance, and insider risk management. If you see, we have a data classification option over here. We have trainable classifiers. We can create these trainable classifiers based on the conditions we have. We can have the sensitive information type. So there are a lot of built-in sensitive information types which are available. We can pick from there, or if we want to go and we want to design new, we can design that also. So if you see, this is created by Microsoft Corporation. This is the pattern which is mentioned, regular expression, regex, Australia, passport number. So if any document is having this particular pattern, that will be coming under this particular sensitive information type, that is Australian passport number. Same way, if you have your own sensitive information type, you can create sensitive information type, you can give your own pattern, you can give the confidence level also which you want in the matching of this. So we can say that sensitive info type 1. And I can give the description as testing and demo. I can give the pattern also based on which I want to identify high confidence, low confidence. I can identify that any primary identification I want to give in terms of regular expression, keyword list if you have something, because this is a custom way. Again, every organization is having different way of designing the patterns, different way of identifying the sensitive information in the document. The flexibility is given from Azure. We can also define the character proximity. We can also give a supporting element or group of elements. Again, if you have any additional check, you can specify that and you can create your own sensitive information type. Also, we have a exact data matches, and here content explorer, if you see, this particular content explorer will give you all the locations where the sensitive information or sensitive labels are applied. So at a single place, you can identify all those locations where information type and labels are applied, and all kind of activities which are happening related to your sensitive data, that you can see from this place, which is giving you the entire report of that. So very important place to understand which are related to your data. This is data classification option which is available. We also have a place where we can work on the policies. As I talk about the data loss prevention policy, we can work on data loss prevention policies where we can create the policies, and also we have various templates which are available. So with this template also we can create data loss prevention policies, but if you want to create your own policy, you can work on that. We can also work on generating the alerts. We can also export the data which is created with the help of all these policies, and also if we have some other third party tool to analyze that information, we can totally do that. Again, any endpoint DLP settings, again activity explorer which will give you all kind of activities which is related to the content which is having the sensitive information or labels which are applied. These things we can manage from here. So these are the things which are available in the compliance.microsoft.com. Let me take you to that slides again just to see what all things we have. So information governance, as I discussed, information protection, we see that we can design these policies to protect our information. Classify, protect your information, manage your information with the help of reports, with the help of alerts. Now, information governance, where we want to manage the risk and liability with the help of understanding the need of the data, that this data is requiring for next 3 years, but the data is not very important, we can discard it after 1 year also. So we need to work on the requirement where we need to delete and manage the data. Also, we need to work on the record management, where we need to manage the high value content which follow the specialized workflows which are required to meet legal, business, or regulatory record keeping obligations. So I will show you that also, that how we can work on information governance on this particular portal. In the information governance, as I discussed, that this is the important way to govern your data. We need to first categorize the information, that we have data which is personal data like name, email address, telephone number. We have data which is sensitive personal data, HR data, health records. We have data which is any product data which is specific to the organization, authentication data. So we can have our own categories. And again, every category is having its own period of retention. So retention strategy we need to design to fulfill the requirements of law, internal compliance policies, and business regulation. We need to first know the organization, know the requirement of an organization which we need to fulfill, and then you need to create a retention plan for managing the data and for working on that data. Again, the basics of data loss prevention, if we see, where to protect the content, when and how to protect the content. So first we need to understand the locations where we need to apply the policy, based on which condition we want to apply, and what kind of actions we need to take whenever the condition is matched. And we need to identify the content. So content explorer is the place which help us in identification of the emails and the documents in the organization which contains the sensitive information. An activity explorer is the place where we will see all the activities which are relating to the contents which are having the sensitive information. So all these things we can manage and we can work on. We can initiate the policy creation. I will show you these steps. Like first, we need to choose the information which we need to protect. We need to name the policy. We need to choose the location where we need to protect the data. Again, the some policy settings, and then we can create that policy, and that will be automatically applied to all the locations which we are selecting in the policy. So I'll take you to the portal again. So let's say I'm taking to the policies, I'm creating a policy over here. So first is choose the information to protect. So I'm okay. First I need to select the policy. So if you see, there are a lot of categories which are available, and in these categories the templates are available. I can totally go and work on the template, or I can totally start from the scratch. So I can select the custom one, custom policy, and I can go with this custom policy. Let's say I'm creating this. Now, this is the important point which we need to pause and discuss again. Choose locations to apply the policy. So these are the locations which are available where we need to apply the policy. Now, in this case, what all things we need to include and what all things we need to exclude from this. So let's say you want to include all the distribution group, or you want to exclude some distribution group, or some applications you want to exclude. All these things we can manage from here. Again, we need to do some kind of policy settings. I need to create and customize advanced DLP rules. I can create a rule, and based on these rules, here we have a conditions. So content contain all of these, any of these. So I can give you the ways, like we can have some information types which we can select. If this content is having this information type, we need to select this. So these are the things which we can identify, we can work on. So these are the things which are available in this. We can create a rule, and based on this rule, the data and content will be classified, and this policy will be applicable to them. So these are the things which are there. So that's it which I wanted to share about this. This is just a brief introduction about the information protection and governance. And at last, I have one more thing to share with you. We haven't discussed about the governance part. I think that also I can share. So here, if we see about the information governance, any question, if you have anything you want to share with me, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to help you and I'll be happy to share more information about this. So here we can have information governance where we can plan the retention policies and we can work on those policies like employee record policy if you have. So we can also design a retention policy for retaining the employees records. So these things you can manage in the information governance. So that's all about this session. It's really wonderful to be part of Getaverse Summit. Thank you so much, Christopher, for giving this opportunity, and team. uh, Take care of yourself. Thank you so much, and I'll wait for your responses on the LinkedIn account. Thank you so much.